Good afternoon. My name is Ariana, and today I will be doing a presentation about the Beatles. The Beatles were a band that first were the Quarrymen, but before they became the Beatles, there were many names before. Let me talk about the official band members. One of the main singers is John Lennon. He started the Quarrymen, which then became the Beatles. He did not change the name though. He was born October 9th, 1940, in Liverpool, England. John's aunt taught him how to play the banjo, and his mother, Julia, gave him his first guitar. His favorite singer was Elvis Presley. He liked him so much that he began to dress like him. He formed his own band in high school called the Quarrymen, which were named after his high school, Quarry Bank. He married Yoko in 1969 and had one child. He was shot on December 8, 1980 by a man who was mentally ill. He was 40 years old. The man who shot John was named Mark David Chapman. He was mentally ill and one day met John and Yoko on a walk and asked for the autograph. John gave him the autograph, and Mark David Chapman later met them again. He told him that he should harm John. He shot him. The next main member is Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney was born June 18, 1942 in Liverpool, England. He had to play the guitar upside down because he was left-handed. To Beatles fans as the cute Beatle. His favorite singer was Little Richard. He learned to imitate the loud yells that Little Richard did, which became part of some of the Beatles' most famous songs. Paul married Linda in 1969. Children. Paul made a solo album called McCartney and played every instrument himself. He is 74 years old. The next member is George Harrison. George Harrison was born February 25th, 1943, also in Liverpool, England. At 14, George begged his mother to buy him a guitar and taught himself how to play. To Beatles fans, he's known as the Quiet Beatle. He's the only Beatles member that in any song. George died on 2001 from cancer. He was 58 years old. Ringo Starr is the last main official Beatles member. He was born July 7th, 1940 in Liverpool, England. His real name is Richard, but he changed his name to Ringo for a stage name. At the age of 6, Ringo got sick with an appendix. After the operation, Ringo didn't wake up and was in a coma for 10 weeks. He stayed in the hospital for better. At the age of 13, Ringo caught a cold that made him very sick again. He ended up staying in the hospital two more years. He had to quit school because since he was sick often, it was hard for him to catch up. Then there are two important Quarrymen members. First, there's Pete Best. He was born November 24th, 1941, in Chennai, India. He was the third drummer. He got kicked out of the band because they wanted Ringo Starr. Pete is still alive today. He is 75 years old. He is important because if he wasn't there, then Ringo wouldn't have become in the band. Then there's Stu. Stu was born June 23rd, 1940, in Edinburgh, England. He came up with the name The Beatles, but then John and Paul came with adjustments. They decided on the Beatles because their music was so strong, but they didn't want to be like a bug beetle, so they changed the A. They changed the second E to the A, and that's how it's called Beat. Stu died April 10th, 1962, from a brain hemorrhage. The Quarrymen were the band, and then were the Silver Beatles, and many more after that. When the Beatles appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, they played 5 songs, and over 73 million people across America watched. there's a song called Yellow Submarine. Paul meant to add short words so then little children could sing along to it. And on February 7th, 1964, Beatlemania hit America. In 1963, the Beatles' first single in England was Please Please Me. The song Yesterday has a record in the Guinness Book of World Records for being recorded by more than 3,000 other musicians. Their last concert was August 29th, 1966, in San Francisco. Their last album was called Abbey Road. And I got all my sources from, the pictures were from, and we printed them out. And then the only thing that we basically got all this great information from was Who Are the Beatles by Geoff Edgers. And I hope you learned something from my presentation today. 4 questions. Clea.
What made you want to do this?
Well, my grandparents, one time we were in the truck and they played it, and one time me and my cousin were outside playing, and she was trying to tell me something, but I couldn't understand what she was saying because I was listening to the music. And then whenever this independent study project came up, I really wanted to do it because I just wanted to know all the interesting facts about them. Jack?
Did John die after did they retire or something? And then he died after, or was it during there?
It was after. Carter?
I do like the Beatles, and you did a really great job.
Thank you.
So, my question is that, do you know which one was the youngest out on the band?
So far, I think it was October. It was either, I think John was the youngest because he was born in it wasn't him. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I think it was actually George now because of the years. Russell?
Why'd they change their name?
They changed their name because they didn't really like any of the other names, but because there were so many in the band, they couldn't just be named one person. And they tried that. They actually called themselves John and the Hound Dogs or something, but they didn't like it. So then Stu came up with the idea, and I guess they wanted to add some modifications to it. So they changed the second E to the A, and I guess they liked that name so much that they just kept it. Any more questions? Sophia?
Why did they start the band?
Well, John loved music, so he wanted to make a band. So he got I don't know about, and they started a band. And at a concert, Paul saw them. So he played the guitar in front of John at the concert, and John invited him into the band, and so that's how Paul became in. Paul was friends with George, so Paul convinced John to let George in, even though George was really young. And then Pete, I guess they heard Ringo's music, and since Pete was already their drummer, since Ringo was a drummer and Pete was a drummer, they wanted Ringo more, so they decided on Ringo. And so their first major manager, Brian Epson, kicked out Pete so then he could be their manager and invited Ringo in. And so that's basically how they became a band.
Oh, yeah. Good question. Popcorn down.
Today, my name is Khalil and my topic is cupcakes. The world's most best dessert ever. We all know that cupcakes are a good dessert, right? Well, you have you a nice tasty treat before bed. Maybe eat about 3, but don't let your parents know about it. Well, you would not want your parents to know about it because they might catch you eating cupcakes, but you don't really want to get in trouble. The best cupcake in the world, my opinion. The best cupcake in the world is red velvet. One you might start bouncing off the walls every day. What is your best favorite cupcake in the world? Just don't eat too many. You will go crazy for hours. What is your favorite cupcake, Allison?
My favorite cupcake is like this Jolly Rancher cupcake they have at my favorite bakery in the ice.
Matthew?
My favorite is chocolate and vanilla mix.
Ariana?
Mine's chocolate.
Do African people eat cupcakes? Have you ever wondered if African people eat cupcakes? Well, I think they should try cupcake. If they didn't, well, I think they should try cupcake if they didn't. Well, I really hope they try one cupcake if they did not try one. How to design a cupcake. Have you ever had a cupcake with different designs on them? Well, you should try them. They are cool. If you see your parents make them, tell them to put designs on them. Trust me, they're going to do it. What ingredients do you put in cupcakes? Well, have you ever baked a cupcake before? What kind of ingredients would you put in your cupcakes? Well, maybe get some fresh things and start baking now. So gather up everything you need and start baking because it's not good if you don't have really everything you need. The first cupcake was baked. When was the first cupcake baked? It was baked. It was made in 1796 when a recipe notation of a life. Pictures of cupcakes. Any questions? Trey.
Why did you want to choose cupcakes?
I don't know. I just like cupcakes so much. Sophia.
The first cupcake, the person who made it, were they trying to do it like on purpose, or was it like a total accident?
No, they just thought of it because it was in a cup and then it was like a cake. Allison?
Do you know what the world's largest cupcake?
No. And Sam?
Who made the first cupcake? And what flavor was it?
I don't know. But all I know is that they baked the first cupcake in 17. Yeah.
Mickey, you're up next. Do you have a slideshow with some questions? Okay, popcorn down, please.
Pointy-Nose Luchama. The Pointy-Nose Luchama was found in New Zealand 2006. The Pointy-Nose Luchama was known as the ghost shark. The ghost shark eats elephant fish, and elephant fish look like elephant, but they come in different colors and they look like fish, but they also look like an elephant. Ghost sharks can grow up to 4 feet and 9 inches. Ghost sharks also eat other fishes, which I didn't find out yet. And ghost sharks are found in Caspian Sea, Ocean, between Pacific and Indian Oceans. And here's a picture of a ghost shark, which is a Pointy-Nose Luchama.
Did it start out as the Pointy-Nose Blue Chimera, or did it start out as the ghost shark?
It started off like the Pointy-Nose Luchama. I like your presentation. I wish you just speak up a little. And what made you want to do this? Well, Ella found it in Scholastic News, and she told me to do it, so I did it.
When was the first shark? When was the first fish?
It was found in New Zealand in 2006.
You ever seen those like in person before?
Yeah.
Allison?
Me neither.
Or marmalade? You get me some marmalade?
I need an elevator to do that. I'm just gonna bring it like this.
What is it? Well, it's not recording. Go in. not recording.
Huh?
Do that when nobody's presenting.
Oh.
Is it recording?
It's recording, but nobody's presenting, so it doesn't matter if you walk in front of it.
Oh.
All right, popcorn down, please. This is cups are down. You can just walk in front. We're seated and we're ready. This is our final presentation before your speaker.
How is the sky blue by me?
The speaker next time, Charlie. Marmalade. Printer, please. You can't walk past this. It's a game, sorry. Sorry, I asked them to on Monday if they needed it. Any more time?
Allison, you can flip it.
Right. Oh. What do I talk No, it should have been more than one. Go back over and just check it and take it out the way.
It should be a kind of prison in the
My son is a physical rancher.
What did you only he has the location for it. So did you print multiple pieces?
Is Mr. Brulette teaching right
You can print it to the wall.
now? I can only print a certain amount.
Hey, you can put them like that. You give me that.
I'm gonna go.
I can do it for.
Marmalade. Marmalade. You get the popcorn for me. You owe me the popcorn. Or did you already have it? Or you have a small cup?
That's the way to do it. I got one more.
She's not, she's gonna.
Wait, I can go? This should be I can go.
What?
Oh, Allison got the tiny cup. That's.
Hands on top.
Everybody stop.
Popcorn goes down, cups go down.
How is the Sky Blue by Allison. Is this something you're interested in? Well, listen to the following slides and you should learn most things you want to know. Kicking off with the first section. Welcome. I will be starting my presentation entitled, How is the Sky Blue? Beginning. First question. How does the color blue form in the sky? My answer was that the light from the sun looks white, but it is really made up of all the colors of the rainbow. Next question. Does God have it in all of its beautiful colors? Not quite. God is just the most important person in the world. Sorry, Mr. B, you didn't make the cut. Third question. Is anyone painting the sky when we don't know it? My answer was no. Fourth question. Does the color have anything to do with the solar system? My answer was yes. There's a rainbow in the solar system that creates the color of the sky. Did you know that the term blue sky laws comes from the words Kansas Supreme Court? No? Well, you do now. On the next section of my presentation entitled Colors of the Sky and Reasons Why, as most of us know, the sky changes color. It's not always blue, people. In this section, you will learn all of the reasons why this happens if you don't already. First question. Why does the sky sometimes change to the color red? My answer was, when the sun is low on the horizon, sunlight passes through more air at sunset and sunrise than during the day. When the sun is higher in the sky, more atmosphere means more molecules to scatter the violet and blue light away from your eyes. Second question. Why does the sky change to the color green sometimes? Any guesses? Sam.
The opposite of the last one.
The answer actually was the water droplets absorb red light, making the scattered light appear blue. If this scattered light is set against an environment heavy in the red light during sunset, for instance, and a dark gray thunderstorm cloud, the net effect can make the sky appear faintly green. That wasn't as much as I expected. Let's move on to the final section, the glossary. Glossary. Molecules. A word in which means a group of atoms bonded together, representing the smallest fundamental unit of a chemical compound that can take part in a chemical reaction. Last question. How exactly is the sky blue? Blue light is scattered in all directions by the tiny molecules of air in Earth's atmosphere. Blue is scattered more than other colors because it travels as shorter, smaller waves. This is why we see blue sky most of the time. I hope you enjoyed and learned a few things from my presentation. Warning, the first video is kind of fast, so listen carefully.
The sky is mainly broad-spectrum white light like the sun, but since small particles in the atmosphere scatter light at the blue end of the rainbow more than the red, it's slightly bluish white, while the remaining sunlight becomes slightly yellowish.
It's the mother of all questions. Well, except maybe what's the meaning of life, which we actually have our own scientific answers to. Or what is love? We have some thoughts on that too. But one of the most Googled questions in the English-speaking world is the one that kids are famous for asking and grown-ups are notorious for avoiding because they just don't know. Why is the sky blue? Just give me a couple minutes and I'll let you know why. This is the world's most asked questions. The sky is blue because of three things: light from the sun, particles in our atmosphere, and the fact that you're a human. I'll get to that last part in just a minute, but let's start with how sunlight interacts with particles in the sky. I'm not talking about dust or water droplets or other big particles which are sometimes mistakenly used to explain why the sky is blue. Instead, it's the very small particles in our atmosphere that make the sky look blue. I'm talking about molecules in the air itself, mostly molecular oxygen and nitrogen. O2 and N2. These molecules are super abundant in our atmosphere and so small that they're even smaller than wavelengths of visible light. And that's the key. Visible light consists of a range or spectrum of different wavelengths. Light are at the red end of the spectrum, wavelengths are at the blue and violet end. Since the blue wavelengths of light are shorter, they're more likely to strike those tiny molecules of oxygen and nitrogen more often. And when they do, they get scattered in all directions. This effect is known as Rayleigh scattering because it was first described by John William Strutt, aka the third Baron Rayleigh, who in 1871 published his mathematical proof that blue wavelengths of light in the atmosphere are scattered 16 times more than red wavelengths. But violet light has the shortest wavelength of all visible light, and it's scattered even more strongly by tiny particles. So why isn't the sky purple? Well, this is where being human comes into play. Our human eyes perceive the middle of the spectrum most sharply, which is why blue is way easier to see than violet. So even though violet light is being scattered around like crazy, we just don't detect it as well as we detect the blue. And that's why the violet band of the rainbow is often the hardest for us to make out. So SciShow viewers are in luck, because when we surveyed you, the rainbow was blue. 33.55% of survey takers reported blue as their favorite color, while yellow was the least favorite at only 2.8%. Poor yellow. But there are other animals that can see all the way into the ultraviolet end of the spectrum, like honeybees and some birds. So maybe they like yellow, and maybe the sky looks completely different to them. Of all the fascinating questions in the world, what question do you want answered most? Let us know on Facebook or Twitter or in the comments.
That's all, folks. Visit Google and search "Why is the sky blue?" and you should be good. And then you should be good to go, in case you didn't learn as much as you wanted to. Any questions? Carter.
Just you did very well on what you done, which is pretty impressive. So my question is, how did you even get into this?
Well, I actually have a funny story. So, before I was sick a few days ago, it's a few months ago, my grandmother and I was over at my grandmother's house. We were watching a TV show. I asked her, "How is the sky blue?" And she was like, I'm not sure. And then she told me, maybe when you have a project like this, you could have that as your project topic. And so here we are. Barry.
I think you did very well on your project. My question is, how long have you wanted to try to answer this question?
That I'm not really sure. Brody.
So this, I like your project, and does the sky turn any other colors than green, blue, and red?
Yes. When I was researching, I couldn't find any research information for all the other colors, but yes, it does turn different colors. One more. Yeah.
In those pictures of the sky and the colors, were those like real pictures? Like the jet one, I really liked because it was like going into like the green sky kind of, and it was the sun coming down. Was that real?
Yes. Thank you.